Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to Guys at Magic. This is Hunter, Shane, Steven, and David. Say what up, boys.
What up, boys?
What up, boys?
What up, nerds?
We are back. This time, we are taking a look at the multicolored legendary creatures from the newest set, Jumpstart 2022. We got a lot of awesome potential commanders that we can talk about today. I have a big favorite, but we'll go over it when we get there. Let's go ahead and just start it off real quick. This first one is Agrus, Eternal Soldier. Agrus, Eternal Soldier is 3 and a white for a 3/4 legendary creature, Spirit Soldier. It has Vigilance. It says whenever Agrus, Eternal Soldier becomes the target of an ability that targets only it, you may pay 1 and a red or white. If you do, copy that ability for each other creature you control that ability could target. Each copy targets a different one of those creatures. Shane, you love spirits. Let's start with you.
I do love spirits. Let me tell you right now. Normally, I play with spirits that are white and blue. So this is a little different, but this ability is nutty, dude. It's reminiscent of Ivy, Gleeful Spell. Still a tiny bit. Shout out to that deck. Look out for that deck. But that is just nuts, dude. So when this thing gets targeted, or I guess anything, right? That only targets one creature. Is that what it is?
Targets
You get to
this
put on,
creature.
but then you get to put it on all your creatures
Yeah,
when you
so
pay 2. That's nuts.
I own Zada, and this is Zada, but with abilities instead of
Right.
spells targeting.
Right. And that's just a very, very strong, like, whenever you can get multiples of strong abilities for only 2 extra on everything you control, that's insane.
Yeah, it just the downfall of it not being like Zada is that you do have to pay that too.
That's true.
Oh no.
I said that's the only downfall. I didn't say it wasn't a complete negative. Steven, what do you think?
I mean, it's like Shane said. I mean, literally, it's like a backwards Ivy. Instead of targeting something else, you're trying to target this in order to get all of your creatures, not just a second one. I mean,
Yep.
that in itself is just kind of nuts. It's like myriad in a weird way. It's really cool.
What's
I think
he
this
gonna
card
have?
is actually like really cool and potentially a huge pain in the ass to get rid of. My first 2 cards that I want to jam in this deck are Giver of Runes and Mother of Runes. That way you can just like target this and then give everything protection. It's a great way for you to be able to push in for damage, make sure that these things just like never die. And then
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that this card is pretty dope.
I
That's a good call,
if
actually.
I'm
Yeah.
ever losing and I'm playing this card as my commander, if somebody tries to target this by killing it or exiling it, I would gladly just pay the 2 and just wipe my entire board.
You would wipe what?
So when somebody targets this to try and kill it with something, you can pay 1, a red or a white, and you can just wipe your whole board.
Yeah, I can't wait to do that, Steven. That's
It seems
big
like
brain.
a really cool thing to do, man.
Board
I
wipe
love how
travel.
I love how we're talking about cool things that you can do with this card, and he's talking about like how he can suicide the deck.
Yeah, no, he's
I
He's
could
on a whole
just
different
kill
level, dude.
all my stuff.
He's hitting
I think
that
he's trying to
self-destruct button pretty hard.
he's trying to downplay the fact that this card is bonkers, dude.
Blonkers.
Yeah, it's like bonkers and I don't know what else.
Okay.
NL?
Blondes and bonkers, I guess.
I don't know, dude.
Yeah, you kind of fucked that one up.
I'm ready to move on because this card is insane. I want to talk about the grade.
All right, well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades then. Steven, we'll start with you.
Yeah, man. I mean, just because this card can wipe your entire board, I'm gonna go ahead and give it a B.
You're so dumb, dude.
David, what do we think?
Steven's definitely sold me on his argument. I'm going to give it a B as well.
You guys are so funny.
Hey, what does board wipe start with, Hunter?
A B.
It actually starts by tapping the certain amount of mana you need for the spell.
Letter. Sorry.
Well, I'm also going to join you guys. This is a B.
Thank you.
Yeah, just because I am a fan of Zada. It just is very reminiscent. So the average here for Agrus is a B. Moving on to a No, Commander. This is Isu the Abominable. Isu the Abominable is 3 and 2 blue for a 5/5 legendary snow creature Yeti. It says you may look at the top card of your library anytime. It also says you may play snow lands and cast snow spells from the top of your library. And its last ability says whenever another snow permanent enters the battlefield under your control, you may pay a green, a white, or a blue. If you do, put a +1/+1 counter on Isu the Abominable. What do we think about this, David?
5-mana 5/5 that cares a lot about itself and making itself bigger. I think that the playing snow permanents from the top of your library is kind of cool, like the snowlands. I don't know if there's enough usable snow spells to make me care about it. I think this card is probably worse than what it reads.
Well, good news, David. I did the number crunch. In these colors, there are 84 snow spells.
How many of those are playable?
I
Plenty.
think it was a decent amount, dude. This card's pretty cool, man.
Yeah,
I mean,
They do a
this
lot of what's up?
I just look at it like this is most of the time probably just going to be able to have me play snowlands from the top of my library, which I guess that's cool. I just want my commander to probably be doing more than that.
I'm not gonna lie. I kind of looked this up a little bit because this intrigued me, and this deck would be so much fun because there are some just fatty like krakens and like sea monsters that are snow related, and they're gonna be one disrupting your opponent's board, and two like there's Icebreaker Kraken. I looked him up earlier. He's a 8/8 and he costs a shitload, but he costs one less for each snow you control, and you can just cast him off the top of your deck for 2. At that point, if you have a bunch of snow, like there's so many different fun things you could do. There's an enchantment that cares about snow permanents you control, and when you have like 10 or more, I probably am butchering that. Maybe it's 20.
Yeah, it's the Merit
You know what I'm
Lodge
talking
one.
about? Yeah, you get like a 20/20, dude. Like I know that it just seems very counterable, and like yeah, you're gonna see it coming from a mile away, but it could be a fun deck, dude.
I mean, I'm not discrediting that. I'm not trying to say that this is not a fun deck. I just think that this is probably not digging a whole lot. I don't think this is acting as like some extreme draw engine or anything like that.
I mean, I'll go ahead and say it. I don't think this is a fun deck.
That's fine.
I think this is a 5-mana 5/5 that, like David said, cares about itself, and after it dies 3 times, it's gonna be really fucking shitty to do anything.
I think it's a fun one.
Yeah, I might actually even build this deck.
Ooh, I want to see it.
Yeah.
Let's
It
go
caught
ahead.
my eye.
Yeah.
Shane will die first.
Okay.
Let's move on to the grades, Shane. You're high on this. What do we give it?
I am pretty high on this, dude. I'm gonna give it a B. I think it's gonna be fun.
Wow. Steven?
I'm actually gonna give this a D. I like the fact that it can filter through the top of your library, but my luck anytime I can play cards from the top of my library is I play that first Snowland, and then the second card's a Snowland, and then I kind of stop. So yeah, with that being said, it's got cool abilities, kind of Voltron-y, which I've never really enjoyed anyway. So yeah, D.
I'm gonna go ahead and give it a C. I think it's good, but it's not great.
I am so tempted to join Steven in the D category with this. This card is just really slow. I'm going to go with a C. I don't think it's bad. I don't think it's great. It's a card.
I'm gonna change your mind, Dave.
I hear the C- in your voice. Don't worry, man.
We are gonna give this an average of a C. Moving on to what I was referencing earlier. My favorite. This is Kenessos, Priest of Thassa. Kenessos, a Priest of Thassa, is 1 and a blue for a 1/3 legendary creature, Merfolk Cleric. It says if you would scry a number of cards, scry that many cards +1 instead. Also has another ability where you can pay 3 and a green or blue to look at the top card of your library. If it's a Kraken, Leviathan, Octopus, or Serpent creature card, you may put it onto the battlefield. If you don't put the card onto the battlefield, you may put it onto the bottom of your library.
This could be fun too.
Oh, yes. There are currently 21 Krakens, 20 Leviathans, 11 Octopus, 40 Serpents, most of which cost over 4 mana, which means they just are coming in cheaper than what you can pay for 'em. So you're just cheating them in. It's really, really cool to build around. And spoiler alert, expect a deck tech by yours truly on this commander.
Can't
Hey
wait, dude.
Hunter, can you tell me why I shouldn't just play Kinnan?
Because Kinnan is completely different.
Yeah.
No, I don't think
He is
so.
he is completely different. He doesn't have to only get those creature types.
And he wants you to play Mana Dorks.
I think this deck is probably going to force you to play some Mana Dorks as well. In all honesty, this seems to me like a commander that you have to have an engine in play for this card to probably do anything. I don't know. It's like you have to have this. You have to have something that is allowing you to repeatedly scry. Then you have to sink mana into this because you're not going to pay the 4 mana on a blind and just hope you have one of the creature types on the top.
Watch Hunter do that.
You're going to whiff. Like, I don't know. I'm actually not very high on this card. I think that you have to already have a board state that's in your favor, or you're going to eventually hit the point of the game where this commander is irrelevant because you can just hard cast those big creatures, in which at that point, why is this your commander?
There's plenty
That's
of ways
cool.
in Magic to brainstorm things to the top of your deck.
Yes, but you have to have those cards, and then you have to have the creature types, and then you have to have this in play, and enough mana to use it. And I just think at some point, your opponent is going to step up and remember that they are playing Magic too and are going to disrupt you.
We'll find out
I'm saying we'll see Hunter's list soon.
very soon.
I mean, I'm not saying this card's not great, but at the end of the day, I still think that if I'm going to do anything that's like this, I'd rather play Kinnan.
I do think that it is probably a little harsh of a comparison to, say, play Kennen whenever he's probably the best at whenever it comes to this like archetype.
Yeah, Kennan's like S
I mean,
tier,
but that's what I'm saying though, is that we're talking about viable commanders, and we always talk if there's a card that can do it better, we always bring it up. And in my mind, you're not putting the restriction on Krakens, Leviathans, and whatever. You know what I mean? Like that, and Kinnan lets you tap for an additional mana whenever you produce that mana type. So I just, in my mind, like why Kinnan is way better than this. That's all I'm saying.
All right, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. I'll start because I'm so in love with this card. I'm giving it a B. I think this is an awesome sea monster commander.
Did you say C? Because that's where I'm going.
You did say sea monster, Hunter.
I know. Sea monsters,
You
baby.
should have said a B monster, dude.
Oh, funny.
I'll give this a C as well, though, Hunter. I'm gonna let you have your time in the sun, and you're gonna build it, and we're gonna play against it, and you're probably gonna lose.
This
Yeah,
is not
I'm
a sea
a-
monster.
I'll double that.
This is a sea merfolk.
Oh my god.
Ooh, he said it.
It's a sea.
All right. You guys are haters. That's fine. But this
I'm not
average,
hating.
you guys, it's fine. It's fine. Kenessos is an average of a C. Moving on to Kibo, Uktabi Prince. Kibo Uktabi Prince is 2 and a green for a 2/2 legendary creature, Monkey Noble. Has an ability where you can tap it. Each player creates a colorless artifact token named Banana. With tap, sacrifice this artifact. Add a red or green. You gain 2 life. It also says whenever an artifact an opponent controls is put into a graveyard from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on each creature you control that's an ape or a monkey. And whenever Kibo attacks, defending players sacrifices an artifact. We
We
have
just
a monkey ape tribal deck.
Can we talk about, is it Kibo or Kibo?
I'm going Kibo.
I'm going with
Maybe be
Kibo.
Kaibo.
Why would it be an I? English is weird, but not that weird.
It's Kibo.
Kibo, dude. Okay, cool.
I'm also
Wait.
on the Kibo train.
Shane, what do we think about the monkey?
Wait, what do I was gonna ask you, what do you think about helping your opponents?
This one's different. I'm
Is
okay with
it?
this. Yeah.
Because you're getting helped too?
Yeah. You're helping your opponents, but your opponents are making your monkey grow. Monkeys.
True. True. It's
But
kind of a what?
here's the only but.
Tell me about
I originally wrote, found what I'm building next. Enjoy the bananas. And then there's only 8 monkeys and 28 apes. So probably not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, it was kind of crazy though. So when he attacks, if you don't give your opponents bananas, they have to sacrifice their ramp.
Yeah, potentially. Or like every time someone sacks a treasure, this also pumps the monkeys.
True, true. I'm just saying like like the very last part.
Oh yeah.
So like you're gonna be like, if as long as you don't give them bananas, they'll have to sacrifice their other artifacts. That seems pretty mean, dude.
I just think that it's stupid the fact that the turn this comes down, you can't even tap it to go ahead and start the engine to run. You have to wait till your next turn, and then you can tap it, and then you have to wait another turn to then attack for them. Like,
Not necessarily. This comes down and that second clause is very much active.
yeah, sure. But the clause that I care about the most is the last clause.
So then don't even make a banana?
Yeah, just attack right away then.
Yeah, I think that the last clause is probably the only thing on this card that you're going to want to care about. Like the bananas are they're cute. The second part in there is really just kind of, I view it as like treasure hate. And it's really not even all that impactful because like if I'm popping a bunch of treasures, I probably don't care if this guy's growing. I'm probably doing something that's more impactful. My only thought with this is that like you build this as a green-red prison or stacks build where you're blowing up their artifacts by repeatedly beating on people with, I guess, the monkey, and then you're trying to lock them out with other means. So like what Shane said, you're going after their mana rocks.
Yeah. Pretty mean, dude. Pretty mean monkey.
It's also awesome that it grows itself when it attacks, essentially.
I don't think this card would be playable if it didn't, because it's a 2/2, so this is attacking on turn 4.
True. Or get to attack on turn 3 if you have something. It's got red in the pip, so give something haste.
I mean, it does have red in the pip, and you're also playing green. You could potentially drop this thing earlier with ramp, but I'm still not sold on the monkey.
I think it's
Yeah,
cool.
I think it's
But
cool too.
If they start making more monkeys and apes, then maybe down the line this will be even better. But until then, just 8 monkeys and 28 apes ain't gonna cut it for me.
I mean,
Most of which is not playable.
you could just focus on the commander at that point. Not worry about putting any more monkeys or apes in.
I think that's the idea, though, right?
No, I think the idea is attack with him.
Yeah, but I mean, to add a +1/+1 counter on all apes and monkeys is pretty cool.
All right, bud.
Let's move on to the grades. Shane, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give it a C.
Yeah, I'm joining you there too. It's a C.
No, it's a D.
This is a D. This card is bad in most circumstances.
It's a good thing it goes to the higher grade.
That's correct. The higher grade here, the average for Kibo, is a C. Next up, we have a new Mizzix. This is Mizzix Replica Rider. Mizzix Replica Rider is 4 and a red for a 4/5 legendary creature goblin wizard. It has flying. It says whenever you cast a spell from anywhere other than your hand, you may pay 1 and a blue or red. If you do, copy that spell, and you may choose new targets for the copy. If the copy is a permanent spell, it gains haste, and at the beginning of your end step, sacrifice this permanent. Dave, what do we think?
I think this is a cool callback. I think I like the first one better, though. I think it's really interesting that she's riding on Niv Mizzet, though. That's pretty cool.
Is that really Niv Mizzet? It looks like a robot.
Yeah, it's a robot Niv Mizzet.
Oh,
Robot,
enough.
is it?
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a replica. She's a replica rider.
Oh.
Oh.
Wow.
We figured it out. I don't know. The stipulation of other than your hand on this, it does limit this by a pretty significant amount. At the same time, red has quite a few ways to be able to cast things from exile, and blue, I guess, can play from other zones as well. We've also just I feel like recently in the last couple of sets have gotten quite a few different ways to play from other zones. So
Yeah, Prosper Tonebound's one of those really good ones that do that.
Oh, don't even start.
what was that, babe? Oh, it's bedtime.
That's what I wrote in my description. I said, this is pretty cool, but only if it had added black. We could see this go really well with David's favorite card ever created in all of Magic, Prosper.
That's weird. That's not what it says.
It says food chain on my screen.
It's almost like David changed the word.
Oh, that makes sense. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna bounce off of what you were already saying. That where else are you casting things besides exile in this? Like that top of your library, graveyard, probably not. So this is definitely just going to be an out of exile deck, right?
I mean, not either top of your deck or exile. Or, I mean, I guess you could also do flashback with it too. You cast it from your graveyard.
Yeah.
And I mean, blue and red both have quite a few flashback options. I
That's true.
don't think that this card is like super difficult to pull off. My big kind of scary thing with this is it's 5 mana to get to play, and then you have to be able to cast something and then pay 2 mana to do anything with it.
Yeah. It's,
Yep.
yeah.
Yeah.
Too
flying the shit, dude.
expensive.
Too expensive for me as well, man. Kill this thing twice, and you're just like, well, I'm done with that, Commander.
You got anything to add, Steven?
No, it's pretty self-explanatory. You kill it twice, and then you never have to worry about it again.
That's what I said.
All
Yeah.
right. Well, then let's move on to the grades, and we'll start with David.
It's a cool card. It's super mana intensive, and I don't actually know. I don't know. I'm going to give this a C. Like, there's a lot of hoops you got to jump through.
Yeah, I'm giving it a C as well.
Chug a chug chug, C train.
Yeah, I'll give it a C as well.
Look at us, all on board. This average here for Mizzix is a C. Moving on to Rodolf Duskbringer. Rodolf Duskbringer is 5 and a black for a 4/4 legendary creature vampire angel. It has flying, death touch, and lifelink. It says whenever you gain life, Rodolf Duskbringer gains indestructible until end of turn. And at the beginning of your end step, you may pay 1 and a white or black. And when you do, return target creature card with mana value X or less from your graveyard to the battlefield, where X is the amount of life you gain this turn.
Why did you say it like that?
What do you mean?
Rudolph Dustbringer is 5 and a black.
Because 6 mana is a lot. But it's a really good effect with a lot of keywords. But for 6 mana, yeah,
This could get kind of out of hand, my dude.
he gives
No,
himself
it's not.
indestructible.
You don't think so,
Only if he
Steven?
connects.
100%. This is
Yeah,
not.
I
gonna
mean,
get
all
out
you
of
have to
hand.
do is gain life, and then you can just start board wiping damage at least, and then you're chilling. Granted, that could be a lot of mana, but and then this could be a threat for sure.
No,
I think it could be.
no,
It's the high mana that's stopping it, but like it
100%.
I'm just saying the potential's there. Board wipe tribal.
Board wipe tribal. 6 mana. 6 mana, but then it's also 8 mana if you're doing it very first turn.
I'm not going to do it at any turn. I'm never going to fucking play this.
David, what do we think?
I mean, I'm in agreement with what you guys have already said. I actually do really want to love this card. I like the effect. I like the card itself, but that 6 mana up in the front is a lot. And I'm not going to put this in like a board wipe tribal. I'm going to play this with like recursive small creatures. That way I can just bring them back. I don't know. You're going to be gaining life because he's got lifelink. So the value of X of being 4 or less, assuming that this thing got in for damage, like that can be pretty impactful. It's just 6 mana is a ton. And it doesn't really do anything the turn it drops. I mean, this is a great target to just kill, and then that player is probably not playing the game anymore.
Yeah. Yo, let's put on our designer hats real quick, dude.
Okay.
Okay. What if this cost David 4 mana for a 2/4?
See,
Same everything else.
I think that's totally fine. I think that even if you were to drop this down to like 5 mana, I would probably still be like willing to play it. I think 6 is just like it's that magic number that takes it over the top.
Yeah. I am completely in agreement.
Which is it's just a bummer because there's so many relevant words on this card that makes you want to like it.
It's true. There is a lot of
Yeah, but
words on
that's
this
the
card.
issue is that it's too relevant. Like it's really good. It's fantastic. That's why it's a fucking 6 cost.
Magic, just print broken cards, dude. I don't care anymore.
They did, and that's why they're going back on their word. They're printing everything with activate only as a sorcery, activate only once. This is way too much mana. But let's move on to the grades. I'm giving this a D.
I wanted to like this. I'm still gonna give this a C, I think.
You know, Shane, you saying that has completely convinced me
Okay, cool. It's an
that
F.
you're
What?
wrong. So it's
Yeah.
definitely a D.
This card is a D. I really want to love it. I just can't.
The average here is going to be a D for Duskbringer. Moving on to the final card that we're going to be talking about today. This is Zask, Skittering Swarmlord. Zask, Skittering Swarmlord is 3 and 2 green for a 5/5 legendary creature insect. It says you may play lands and cast insect spells from your graveyard. And whenever another insect you control dies, put it on the bottom of its owner's library, then mill 2 cards. It also has another ability where you can pay 1, a black or green, to have target insect get +1/+0 and gain Death Touch until end of turn.
Now this is a 5/5 for 5 with pretty relevant text. I think I like this one a lot more.
Insect Tribal, dude. There's
You
160 insects in
I
these
love how your
colors.
brain always goes to the fucking tribal.
Bro, it literally has insect written
I know,
in
I
every
know.
single ability.
But not everything. It doesn't need to be full on insect, dog.
I disagree.
I know you do.
This card actually sold me on its first line of text. That whole you may play land cards,
Yep.
and then I guess it cares about insects as well from the graveyard.
Yep.
Strip mine and wasteland and my fetch lands. Like, oh, this is gonna be good. I'm built. Like, this is land destruction to a T.
You're a dick.
With insects, dude?
I mean, like, yeah, this is an insect.
Hey, I'm so upset. I'm so mad right now, dude.
This is
Okay.
Are
5
you
mana.
fuming?
This is not 6 mana.
I am fuming right now.
This
dude.
doesn't bring back forests. This brings back relevant lands.
True.
Fuming.
It's not
Why,
forest, Steven.
Steven? That says lands, not forests. We broke them, I think, guys.
I can bring
Well,
back my
what's that,
wasteland and
honey?
my strip mine.
Hey,
It's bedtime.
so I know you guys said this wasn't really an insect commander, but it is. Were you expecting 160 insects in these colors? Because I didn't expect that many insects in Magic, period.
Sure,
I
dude.
mean, yeah.
I mean, insects usually go in the dirt, and when I think dirt, I think green and black.
Wow.
So yeah,
You
I
know, that was a
expected-
crazy sentence.
That
Holy
was
shit.
profound, Steven.
We might have
Yeah.
to cut that.
Oh, it was just too profound. I gotta cut it, dude.
You have anything to add to this, Steven?
No, he's
Nah,
fuming,
man,
dude.
I'm okay.
All
He
right.
doesn't like that we shit on it for having land bring backer ability. Wait,
I
what
just-
can I say?
Land bring backer ability.
Man.
Wow.
Let's
It's
move
late.
on.
It's late, dude. I'm sorry.
David, what do you think about this card more than just land destruction?
I know I said that and just kind of like being giddy with it because I knew that it was going to get a reaction out of you guys. But this is a deck that does really well with making sure that you're always hitting land drops. You're never going to miss it because you play any fetched lands and you're getting a land per turn. You're also capable of recurring your cards. I mean, they're not coming from the graveyard, but like your insects might eventually see play later on. And then you can use this as a mana sink to give either this or other insects you control Death Touch. Like your deck blocks incredibly well, is always hitting its lands, probably ramping using that. I think this card is really good, actually.
I would tend to
So
agree with you, bud.
So you're saying it's an insect commander?
I mean, yeah, okay. I was joking around earlier whenever I was just saying that this is like Wasteland Tribal and whatnot. This obviously is an insect commander, and I think that even if you're just playing with like small low to the ground insects, your opponent is gonna think twice if you have an insect and 2 mana up, because they're probably not gonna want to attack into your Death Toucher.
Yeah, I get that. I completely agree with you. Well, let's go ahead and move on to the grades. We'll start with David. David, what are you giving it?
I'm gonna give this a B. I'm actually pretty high on this card.
You gonna build it?
I don't know if I'm gonna build it or not, but I don't know. We'll see.
You don't want to see him build this, Hunter. I promise you.
I'm still sticking with my original grade. This is a C for me.
I'll join you. C.
Yeah, I think I'm a little higher on this card, dude. I think it's a B.
Should have
Well,
given
David,
it an F.
you convinced it. This is going to be an average of a B. And that is going to do it for the multicolored legendary creatures from Jumpstart 2022. What I found interesting about this set is we haven't seen this in a while, but every single one of these multicolored creatures had a cost of monocolored, but it made it multi because it had that extra pip somewhere located on the card itself. What do you guys think of that?
Is that like a cycle?
I don't know if it's a cycle, but like every single one
Interesting
just had its
design.
only
Yeah.
multi-colored cost. I mean, monocolored cost.
I
I mean,
mean,
does
they're
that matter?
well with Jumpstart itself, probably because like if, for example, with the last card we talked about, Zask, if you open up 2 green packs, like you can still play Zask and make it relevant.
True. That's probably why they did it, Hunter, honestly.
I just like it. I like it from a design standpoint. I like seeing that more often because we've completely talked about it all the time. This would be better if it had blink. That's exactly what these cards are doing.
Well, it's kind of easier to cast, right, in a sense? You don't have to worry about both sources.
It's true. Except for Zask, where you have 2 pips. But yeah, I'm a fan of these. If you guys like this video, hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Check the description where you can find links to our Instagram, our Twitter, our TikTok. Follow us on there. That is at Guys at Magic for all 3 of them. And until the next video, hope you guys have a great rest of your day. Peace.
Bye-bye.
Hasta luego.
Bye.